Say it right now. I have the best shot.
I'm the best shot.
I have the best shot.
I'm the best shot.
Yes. And who's going to score?
Me.
That's right. Let's go. Score it up. Let's go. Tell the Cam you're going to score.
I'm going to score.
There you go. There you go.
Hey guys, what's going on? Carlos Cortez here with another episode of Scriptures and Wall Street. I'm really excited about talking about what's going on today. I wanted, before I make our discussion on a monologue here on this episode, I just wanted to share that we have to start speaking life into our kids. You know, we get so inundated with podcasts and the media and the Olympic debacle, all these negative things that we simply forget to stop and smell the roses. Like, be grateful for your wife, be grateful for your spouse. Let's just stop and just be grateful that we have a heartbeat. Let's just stop and be grateful that we have a home, air conditioner, that, you know, we have food on a table. I think we've lost reality and we're not grateful anymore. I hear it in people's voices that they take everything for granted. Imagine not having your phone, not having access to your bank account. Imagine having no access to your car. Where would life take you at? At one point, we had a life without all those things. And I'm not saying we need to go back to that, but we need to remember the humbleness we used to be at. I feel like there is a lot of greed and just like victimhood when it comes to your money, especially when I talk to people, even some clients, that entitlement kicks in, greed kicks in. We have to check ourselves, man. We have to check ourselves. So that video, I wanted to share that video because my son was a little down. He hasn't scored a goal in, like, I'm talking about all season long. And I said, Nathaniel, you got to start believing in yourself. He literally, like, legit has the hardest shot in his U12 league, and he never uses it. Like, he doesn't like go on the ice and says, I have the best shot, I'm gonna use it. Like, he doesn't know the power behind that, how confident he could be. So with that little video, I wanted to start out the episode with that because I told him, you already physically have the best shot in the whole league, in the U12 Pee Wee League. Now it's time to believe it. You have the best shot, but do you believe it? Like, do you really, really believe it? And so as a father, I wanted to speak life into him, motivate him. Maybe it was hype, but I wanted to give him confidence. Very similar to when I was almost dying from COVID. I heard God's voice saying, I am with you. Go fix it. I am with you. Go fix it. I heard those words from God when I was dying on my deathbed and I was getting resdemivired. I could run through a brick wall. Like, that's all I needed to hear. And I had the utmost spiritual confidence that our God existed, that he was almighty, that he was all powerful, that I would make everything right that I screwed up in my life. All the broken promises that were against me, all the broken promises that I did to others, I wanted to make that right. And so what I wanted to share was the power of affirmations. Like, we have to start, I say that because we need to start affirming ourselves in our faith, affirming ourselves in our beliefs. Like, many of you read the Bible, but do you actually believe it? Or is it Christian karaoke when you're going to worship on Sunday? And when I help worship lead at church, I'm constantly thinking, like, these words are so powerful. You know, we sing the song, oh, praise the name of the Lord our God. Praise his name forevermore. Like, there's so much power in worship. But do we believe these words? Do we believe these words? That's a whole nother ball game. And I wanted him to believe these words. So I say that because the dude went on the ice, and guess what? He like scored against the undefeated team. They ended up losing. They ended up losing in the playoffs. But he went on the ice majestically, got the puck, shot it from like a far distance, a slapper, top right. I wish I had it on video, but I don't like recording because I want to be present in the game. And the kid just upper top shelf scored, and he believed it, and he executed. How effective is that in your retirement? How effective is that in your faith? How effective is that in your family? How effective is that with your relationship with your spouse? Like, do you really, really, really love your spouse? Would you fall for her? Would you catch for her? After all the crap, the infidelity, the not showing up, not being present, whatever it is, and they're still there. It's an unconditional love. And so as we go through this like election cycle, as we go through this whatever fake agenda that is happening right now, you shouldn't be upset about the Olympics. You should not be upset about it because we're funding it. And the Christian men, they're not doing nothing about it. You're like, oh, and you have Andrew Tate. You have Andrew Tate, a Muslim, basically saying that we need to protect religion.
There has to be a point you stand up for your beliefs. If you have something in life and you don't stand up for it, it will not last. If you have a house, you don't maintain it, it will fall down. Business, you don't work, it's gone. Relationship, you don't take care of her, she'll leave you. It's the same with religion. If you Christians don't start standing up for things, when they mock you publicly and openly, you'll have no religion left. It doesn't matter, it's a matter of time. Especially now, Romania and all these other countries have opened the border. Millions of people who come here are not Christian. And if you don't say, this is a Christian country and we respect Christianity, they won't respect it either. It's the end. And it's the man's job. It's the job of men to defend things. This is what a man is supposed to do. It's man and woman for a reason, but the man is a fighter. The men have to stand up and fight against these things. Guys, this is supposed to be the most Christian country in Europe. When they try this crap again, I expect to see you all at the next embassy, wherever it is.
And no Christian men are speaking out on that. They're not doing anything. And people are asking me, so what do you expect us to do on this question? Well, be appreciative of your home. Let that be a reminder that we will be persecuted. We will be infiltrated by Satan. You see, they don't attack the Muslims. They don't attack the Hindus. They don't attack the Church of Scientology. They don't even attack certain forms of, well, I'll just say it. Mormonism is a cult. They don't even attack the Mormons. Okay? Because they know the devil has won. They know that they don't have a God that is threatened. There is no other gods before the living blood of Jesus Christ. And so they continually have to attack Christianity. And you know what? I am glad to say, I've been talking to some people, some higher ups, and there is a small white hat group that it has raged Christian institutional money, where there is people out there that want to bring Christian nationalism to the forefront. They want to promote in every sector, from pharmacy to financial to banking to academia. They want to bring Christian nationalism to the plate. It has caused uproar to bring men and women that have a purpose, that believe in that spoken word, that affirmation, that they want to put their money where their mouth is. They don't even care about making a profit. They just want to infiltrate the airwaves for the gospel, to the gospel. I'm all about it, dog. I'm all about it. This is why I have scriptures in Wall Street, because they don't go hand in hand, right? But they actually do. They actually do. And so this is how we're different. This is what we're called to do. You're supposed to bring your experience. How can you have your experience, your knowledge, your wisdom, your experience as a triangle, meaning aiming to the cross? Whatever industry you're in, academia, financial, medical, how can you bring your experience and keep the cross as your aim? That is the key for fulfillment. So I posted the other day on Facebook, like, how do you seek fulfillment? Ask that question to yourself. How do you seek fulfillment? And for a decade, I didn't know what that answer was. I thought it was being a big financial advisor, making millions. I thought it was like, getting women's attention. I thought it was all about Gucci suits and name brands. Because the more successful you look, the more happier it look. That was a lie that went in my head. That was a lie that I believed when I was growing up in Wall Street. And it's still relevant today. There are many guys in my industry that believe that the houses, the cars, the women, the materialistic things is your form of fulfillment. The way you look, body, mind, and soul is what they believe. Manifestations, the secret. They watered down God's prosperity into a lie like The Secret. Power of the law of attraction. All that is complete bullshit, guys. It's complete bullshit. It's a fake version of what God's prosperity wants for us. And the thing is, all we have to do is just ask him in our heart to reveal, how do we become wealthy? How do we become more fulfilled? And so this is not a popular topic. I will get to the charts. I'll get to other things. But what's really in my heart, man, is like fulfillment. The question is, what fulfills you? And for me, it took me 15 years to answer that. I've cheated on my wife. I've drank too much. I've done stuff in my past that I'm not proud of. I've hurt my family. Never stole money, but lost money for clients before when I was younger and ignorant. I've done things that I'm not proud of. But in that response, God has worked through my life. God has completely 180'd my whole get up, like everything, physically, spiritually, financially. And it is my prayer that God does that for you. Some of you are looking for fulfillment in that 180 turn financially, but it doesn't come financially. It actually comes when you seek his face. Then he will add all these things into you. Then he will add all these things to you, all the desires of your heart. I desire to have a nice house, not for materialism, but to provide for my family, to give my family a home that I could never, ever even dream of. Growing up as a poor kid, my parents weren't that well educated. In their own way, they were. But my father had to grind. He was a welder. He came here legally on a student visa, married my wife, joined the army, went up the ranks as much as he could without being an officer. Just helped a lot of the Desert Storm success we had. And great American story, great American patriot, my father is. And now all he does is honor God through his word. As a pastor, full-time minister. And I didn't want to be a pastor, but in a way, I guess I am. It's funny how God smacks you around. Because I have this podcast and it's called Scriptures on Wall Street. And I want to make sure that people are not funding the things that are evil. And this whole system is rigged. It is rigged because we have the Olympics. So the Olympics was funded. Like, you just don't get naked fat guys, skinny fat guys, gay models, and drag queens. All that stuff costs money. Like, no one's asking, like, who funded this? We're just blaming the Olympics. But who is funding this? It costs money to have all that gay attire on, to have those cameras, to have that setup, to fly those people over there. Somebody's paying for it. Who's paying for it? You are. You are. And then we're not affirming, we're not believing in what the scripture says. We're not believing it. Like, till you start believing that seek his face, then all these things will be added upon to you. Till you start believing his word, that's where the real financial success comes from. It is night and day, man. When you actually give your tithe, it says in Malachi 3 that you will have a cup and it overfilleth. Like, you wouldn't even have enough room for all the blessings. And it says, try me in this. Try me in this. Like, who are we to try God, man? Are you joking me? Like, seriously, I thought the gay people on the Paris Olympic ceremony, I thought they were going to get struck by lightning. I almost was like waiting to see it. Because God will not be mocked, man. But in that response, it rose a whole secret organization of men and women that want to be the light, to almost be like offensive with the gospel. Like, shove it down your freaking throat, because this is who we are. A double-edged sword, like it says in Isaiah. And guys, I don't know who needs to hear this, man, but we're funding this. There's so much emotions in this, but I'm actually proud. I'm actually proud to see God just show his face in his majestic, humble quietness. Because he will not be mocked, man. He will not be mocked. And it's very powerful that you guys, I can't speak on certain things because of people watching this and trying to copy, but there is, I'm talking massive amount, millions of dollars, guys, millions of dollars that want to fund a God-fearing, doctrinally sound movement in every sector. Almost like BlackRock is doing for evil, there will be a White Rock that's doing it for the good. And I want to be a part of that. I want to be part of this Christian movement that I'm discerning that will come out and glorify God and help all the sinners like me, like you, seek his face, turn from our wicked ways so that he will heal our land. And I'm not here to say Christianity is better than you and this and that, but it also is. Like, we worship the only living God. We worship the God that actually made an impact on that resurrection day. No other God has done that. You cannot argue against that. Not Buddha, not Muhammad, not Elaine White, not Joseph Smith, not anyone that said, I had a dream and this was that. Dude, I don't believe these like prophetic podcasters. Like, if they started with a dream, okay, now you're susceptible to any dream, like the new age, and you could be influenced by your own emotions. There's some good, there's a bad evil, and some evil in there, but you know his people by his fruits. And God doesn't work in a way of confusion or anything. And we have to be real. We have to be real. We have to be intercess, prayed up, and know his fruits and have a spirit of discernment everywhere we go. Anyways, I got off track there. I'm sorry, guys. I spent the whole episode talking about that. But the whole thing was just simply having the power of affirmations. the affirmation to tell your kids to have gratitude that you can go out there and do anything you want with God's help. You know, my father told me when I was a kid that still to this day was powerful. We were in a little 3x2 home in Fayetteville, North Carolina when I was born. My dad just came back from work from the military. And he sat me down. He said, Carlos, I'm going to work hard every day so that you can do whatever you want in life. You have the freedom to do anything you want. And at that time, I was only like 6 or 7. That literally changed my whole mindset when my father told me I can do whatever I want. I didn't know what that looked like when I was younger, but he spoke that into me. And now I'm doing what I want. And I'm not listening to the rulers on Wall Street. I'm not listening to what people told me when I was a kid. It literally protected my cranium from lazy quitter, spirit, victim card. All that garbage was thrown out. When somebody said, you got to do this, it was on deaf ears. And as a matter of fact, I just realized after I do this podcast, I'm recording on Thursday. You guys are going to probably see this later tonight. It is August 1st. In 2 days is my parents' anniversary. So shout out to Carlos and Benita, my parents. I love them to pieces. They're right now just celebrating it right now in Ocracoke and in the Outer Banks, where I'm from North Carolina, but going to the islands, Outer Banks was like a treat. So just keep them in your prayer. I feel terrible. I don't know how many years it's been. I'm a bad child, man. I know it's over like 20 or 32 years. So I'll find out and correct myself. But yeah, wish them, here's a picture of them. Wish them a happy marriage. My dad's 71, my mom's 68. So pretty amazing stuff. I think it's 50 years. So pretty amazing. And they've had their ups and downs. But after this podcast, I'm going to my kids and I'm going to tell them, I've worked this hard. I've set the tone. I've set the model. You can do anything you want in life. And so that's my message to you is you can do anything you want. We have the covering of the Holy Spirit. We have God's grace on our side. We can do anything we want. I just think that is so beautiful, man, to tell your kids that, to give them that belief. Because at the end of the day, that's all God wants. He wants us to believe in his word. And we're not believing in his word. We're just Christian karaokeing in it, man. We're just reading to read. We're reading to look good. We're reading to be a keyboard warrior on Facebook. Like I said on Facebook the other day, that most Christian men are a bunch of pussies. You let people talk about Christ and not do nothing. And then all the feedback, I had so many people sending me messages about Bible verses. And I get it. You want to correct me. You want to share Bible verses. But how many times do you hide behind your masculinity, we're the priesthood, guys. How much do you hide behind a scripture? Because it's easier to do that, so you don't have to show up and fight. When's the last time you put on a pair of boxing gloves and punch somebody? When's the last time you got your ass kicked? When's the last time you protected your spouse and actually showed up physically for her? Do you think Christian men are supposed to be weak physically, fat and lazy like the beer commercials? No. And if that's you, it's time to man the heck up, man. I don't care how old you are. So this is why the Christian men are so feminine. They don't want to be bold. The church has not given us a place where we can be bold. They're so seeker gay friendly. They're so seeker friendly. It is hurting the church, man. Like it's disgusting. I don't want to go to a seeker friendly church. I want to go to a loving church, but we are a just church. We have our parameters according to the word of God of what we should be doing, how we should show up to church, how we should show up in our marriage, how we should show up as a father. Like, I don't think if you're having butt sex, you should be going to a seeker friendly church. Maybe you do, but yeah, man. Like, I know they're lost, but they're impacting the church rather than us impacting them. And this is the crap that we get. They want to make LGBT a staple in the Christian community. They want to glorify it. They want to say, "Oh, it's seeker friendly. It's progressive." Yeah, whatever, man. So we got to be bold, man, because slowly, Satan is in for the long game. He's not in it for the short-term game. He likes those, but he would rather indoctrinate, spoil it, bastardize it 1 decade at a time. So 20, 30 years from now, we don't even have a Christian church. We have a hybrid of all religions. And that's not what God's word says. And this is why people are going back to orthodoxy. I'm sorry to take all this time and just preaching, but it's been on my heart and my chest, and I promise you that I can't be bought, man. Like, there's sponsors that want to pay me 10, 20 G's a month. Dude, go screw yourself, man. Like, I'm self-funded. I don't need your money. Like, if I like your product, I'll promote it. But I want you to know that this is raw and real. I sponsored myself. Like, Cortez Wealth Management is my own for-profit business that allows me to do this. So I can preach, so I can share my message, so I can be the light, so I can share the charts, so I can show you the manipulation, so I can show you what I'm going through, so that you could see it and that you can benefit up. And then guess what? If I get to ask for your soul to give it to the Lord, then I'm winning. That is the number one currency. That is the number one aim for this podcast, is to represent a higher calling called Jesus Christ. That's it. And, you know, I posted this whole thing like, what fulfills you? This fulfills me. Being with my wife, my kids, that fulfills me. Is not the money. I lose money when I do these podcasts. Like, I pay money to do this podcast so that you guys can hear me. So you can criticize me and say, hey, this guy, blah, 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 blah. He's a spick Jew. I mean, I read all the dumb comments, man. They're ignorant, man. Like, seriously. And honestly, like, the people that complain the most are the ones that are broke, that are victim card, that don't have anything to show for it. And they complain, and they hide behind a keyboard because it's comforting. Tell me how you're going to grow from the couch. It won't happen. So we have to understand, guys, that not everything is about money. The money is going to go. And I could show you for information purposes only. Let me share my disclosure. I am a financial advisor, but everything on this podcast should be used for information and education purposes only. And I'm going to go to the charts here. I'm going to cut it pretty short because it is a midweek show, and I'll rant more on the weekend podcast when everybody has a little more time. But look, we are going to have a correction. I think Trump is going to get in. They're going to try to assassinate him. They're going to try to murder him. Maybe they mess up the plane. I don't know how they're going to do it. They're probably going to try to attempt something on him. And if they can't do that, then they will try to do another blackout like they just did and ground airplanes and ground the HER servers. And something will probably happen before the election. And then fraudulently, boom, there'll be another attempt to steal the election. But I think we've gotten so much smarter through the rise of social media, the rise of technology. Like, there is AI. I believe that they have AI that's going to protect them from all of the tactics they're going to use, and that Trump will still get established or elected, and that they will try to buy him out, and they can't. Look, whether he's pro-vaccine, I could care less. He's the only one fighting for Christian values right now. Okay. I know there is people that are 50-50 with Trump. Hey, I totally get it, man. But he's the only one fighting for Christian values, period. I mean, who else can win to get this idiot out of office, this fake establishment that they're doing? It's disgusting, man. I can go on and on about that, but I wanted to show you some charts to quantify, qualify why I feel this way. Look, we all have our inclinations. We all have our feelings and our bias, but that's what they are. If you pan out, it's just your feelings. The wave moves differently. The markets don't care about your feelings. And quite frankly, your money doesn't care about your feelings. And I'm going to show that right now. Let me get to it. So the markets are confused right now. Like there's people that believe that the interest rate's going to go down. There's people like myself that don't think interest rates are going to happen until later on this year, early next year. So it's the market. There has to be a winner. There has to be a loser. And there has to be like people that are wrong and right all the time. And I've been saying this, I mean, geez, all year long. Like they're going to raise interest rates. They're not going to cut it. I said that back last year in December, because if they drop the interest rates, it is going to send the stock market in a massive frenzy that you would not be able to control. But I want to show you some ways that we can make money when the market does crash or go down. I think we're going to have a massive correction that you haven't even seen in a while, since like 2008. But you gotta listen to me, man. Like you gotta continue to watch the scriptures on Wall Street, because I'm going to show you information that will, for education purposes only, that you can make a huge bag of money. And you just gotta continue watching us. Like me on X. My personal is on Bud Fox. I'm sorry, not Bud Fox. My personal is Carlos Cortez Jr. 3 on X. Or you can go to Scriptures in Wall Street. But more importantly, go to my Rumble channel. Go to my Rumble channel right now. Pause the video. I'm not doing this live. I record it live, but I pre-record all this. But go to Scriptures in Wall Street on Rumble. Like my channel. Follow it. Alert it. So that I can get some followers, because that is where all the heat happens. And I'm going to be talking about markets when it happens. I'm going to be talking about all these things when it happens. And you want to stay in tune on what's going down, man. So anyways, I wanted to share this quick video. I want to share this quick video of this lady talking about what? Yes, the interest rates. And that is the number one topic right now, is obviously the interest rates.
Fed Chair Jerome Powell points to the possibility of a rate cut in September. Let's get to Yahoo Finance's Jennifer Schonberger with the details. Of course, you and your peers there in the press room pressing him on when that rate cut was going to happen, if it would be in September. What was your takeaway from being in the room?
Hey, Julia, he was pretty forthcoming considering the statement. He, of course, didn't say that the Fed has made any decisions about future meetings at this juncture, but that the time is growing closer for the Fed to begin cutting rates, and that September is a point of more confidence for the Fed. Take a listen.
The question will be whether the totality of the data, the evolving outlook, and the balance of risks are consistent with rising confidence on inflation and maintaining a solid labor market. If that test is met, a reduction in our policy rate could be on the table as soon as the next meeting in September. So you asked why not today, and I would just say, again, that the broad sense of the committee is that we're getting closer to the point at which it will be appropriate to reduce our policy rate, but that we're not quite at that point yet.
When I asked Chair Powell whether there's a growing sense of confidence among committee members that the Fed could go in September, he told me yes. Now, Powell says if they see inflation continuing to move down in the manner that we've seen over the second quarter, if the job market remains kind of where it is currently and the economy remains relatively strong, as we've seen here in the second quarter, then that would be a recipe for the Fed to likely cut in September. However, if we were to see more volatility, more stalling in the inflation data, then they would need to rethink that. However, he says it's very much about the balance of risks here. So they're very much weighing the employment side of their mandate again, not just inflation, as we saw in that statement. Chair Powell said there was also a real discussion within the committee about pulling the trigger, cutting rates at this meeting, but the majority of officials decided against that. While they are encouraged with the inflation data they've received in the second quarter, they still need to see more good data before cutting rates. He says we're in a different economy now with the labor market cooling and inflation coming down. The time is, quote, coming to adjust. And lastly, I just want to note that Chair Powell was asked about President Trump's comments that the Fed should not lower rates in September, and he thinks that the Fed can make decisions in an apolitical manner. He says we never use our tools to support a political party or a particular political outcome. Bottom line here, guys, the Fed seriously eyeing September. Back to you.
Jen, thank you so much. Our own Jennifer Schonberger there.
Now, do you believe that? I don't know about that, dog. Powell saying we don't use the interest rates to promote a certain candidate or not. No, you're just going to use it to bash another candidate. And so what I think is going to happen, as we're going to look at the charts here in a second, what I think is going to happen is they're going to crash the market as soon as Trump wins the election. That will make a lot of sense to me, because then they can say, you see, this is what happens when you have a conservative in the office. This is what happens. He's terrible, blah, blah, blah. And we're going to have to work our magic through that. There's a lot of things that they're going to throw at him. And I totally see that happening. But before I end this video, I want to just do a quick round robin of some of the popular tickers that we've been talking about. And you guys know me, like, so here is the S&P 500. Hopefully you can see this better. Let me see here. Let me go full screen here. So here is the S&P 500. And what we see here is, I don't know if you can see this on your screen. Let me see. Yeah, you can. So one of the things I want to look at is the waves, the certain waves that we have. You see there's a wave there. There is a wave here. Get my pencil out. There's a wave here. You see how smaller that wave is compared to this one? This is more of a consolidation range, not much of a wave. But this wave here is very, very, very easy to spot that it is weakening. Now, you mirror that with my oscillator signals down here on the bottom. They are turning red. And so what this red oscillator means is this is short-term, mid-term, and long-term. When we have a lot of pressure going down, the markets will start to turn. And so you can't really negate the fact that there's momentum going down. And so this little red spot here shows our recent downside of the S&P 500. But we're losing momentum here. We have a red candle, a red graph here, and with my bars, plus they're on the hook for interest rates. It's not looking good. Also, the volatility index is at 19 right now. So that signals that we're starting to see some volatility. So the volatility index, as you guys remember, is a symbol, is a gauge of the fear and greed index. But I want to just let you know that it doesn't stop there. I want to show you Fed funds rate. So here we are, Fed funds. And basically, every time the interest rates are lower, we get a purple box. they're saying that this could actually go up. Like my AI software, my scanner is saying this could go up, and there's some there's some actually some proof there that it could go up. And at the end of the day, it's got to come back down. And they're holding these interest rates steady because they know it will be a massive meltdown in the banks, in the financial sector, and everywhere in pricing. Just because they lower interest rates doesn't mean inflation is going to go down. So that's the big problem here, is that they printed so much money that inflation is out of control that they have to keep the inflation up. But for those of you that have called my office and say, hey, I want TMV. First and foremost, I want to say this is not stock advice. Like, if you have money to invest in this, it needs to be discretionary money. It needs to be money that you don't care about, money you can afford to lose, money that is not part of your retirement. And this is not stock advice. This is information, educational purposes only. I just want to share that because we've had some calls of people, hey, I have $2,000 or $3,000, and they don't have enough liquid assets to take the risk of this trade. So I'm not comfortable talking to you or having my consultants talk to you if you only have a few $1,000 to invest in this, because that's not discretionary income. If you got $1 million, $500,000, and you can afford to take a gander at something, then yes, this could be for you. But I'm not giving investment advice. You have to give us a call. We can talk about it. I could see how I could help you. This is not a free service. I run a for-profit business. I will charge for the advice. Just letting you know. This is not a free service. I have 20 years of experience doing this. I have to get paid for my time. I have to pay for the show. But I will be introducing a inner circle where we're going to be talking about these trades where you can get in. I will charge for it. I'm still working on it. I'm not going to roll it out till it's ready. It's not ready. Probably another 8 to 12 more months. I'm back testing it. I want to show you that I can do it myself, prove it to on paper, and then roll it out. I'm not going to give you a product that is not tried and true, period. So anyways, going back to this TMV, we know the Fed funds are either going to go up, down, or sideways, but we also know that this is going to skyrocket as soon as they lower interest rates. So I want you to look at TMV. Now, this is 3 times the Treasury fund rate. So the one time is TLT. So if you don't like the risk of that, you could literally just hold TLT. And it's the same chart, but you could still make a lot of money on this. This one is $95 right now. And basically what will happen is as soon as interest rates go up, the price of this will try to hit this high, which is about 169, and it's at 95. So there'll be a run up in this value. You can buy call options here. You can hold the ETF. You could do an option strategy. There's so many things you can do when you know where it's going to go. But I like the TMV. The TMV is the gas, man. Like, this is the octane. This is the propane. This is the steroids. This is how you make the bag, dude. You know, so I'm sorry. I said TMF. Right? Yep. Yeah, sorry. TMF. I like the TMF. It's at 55 right now. And if you followed me, you're already up. If you followed me about 2 or 3 months ago, it's already up about 3 to 5%, depending on when you went. I know I'm up a good 4% on mine. But you could buy a call option right here to 100. You could buy a call option right here to 100. Hypothetically, not a recommendation, right here. And if it doesn't hit by January 26th, you lose all your money. This is why I say this is not worth if you only have a few grand. Like, you will lose all your money. If it doesn't hit here by January 26th and you bought the call option, your options expire worthless. But if it does go past this, then you would literally make a lot of money. I mean, depending on how much, like a $10,000 trade on January 26th could be worth about $100,000 if it even goes remotely to like I think it was, I got to pull up my option calculator. Don't quote me on it. I think it was like $200. It was 100 grand. And by gosh, if it goes up to here to 500, then you're looking at the trade of the year. You're looking at a very deep 6-figure trade. But again, if you're interested in something like that, I do not recommend this if you only have a few bucks to your name, a few thousand to your name, excuse me. I only recommend it if you have a big portfolio and you're willing to carve out 3, 4, 5% of your liquid assets. If that's you, give us a call, 813-448-3446. I can walk you through this whole setup if you're interested in a trade. But more importantly, you need to have a retirement plan. You need to have a retirement plan that can help you take advantage of things like this. Like if your advisor is not giving you these ideas, then what are you doing with this advisor? Like you got to be proactive. But more importantly, guys, like there's so much volatility, and I'm going to talk about certain indices that are going to do well in this new era that we're about to face. And what I'm going to bring to the table is I'm going to talk about the transition index. I'm going to write that down so I don't forget the power behind it, because a lot of people don't have time to manage this. And honestly, like even people like me don't even have time to manage it. We hire other money managers that do it. But now I'm slowly converting into money management, and I'm having a liking for this and the trading aspect of it. And obviously the podcast, I love the podcast, but you got to have something that is a dog willing to fight for you, and an account that can literally be tactical and move, because the volatility is so crazy, right? It's going to get crazy, guys. Like that is a guarantee. The volatility is coming. It's an election year. You got to be able to have something that pivots on a dime while you go to work for your nonprofit, while you help in your ministry, while you go to work, nursing, plumbing, whatever you do. You got to have something that's professionally managed so that it can react to certain things. And not just this 60-40 blend, the cookie cutter mutual fund at Edward Jones that's charging you 2%, or Merrill Lynch, Morgan Stanley. No, those days are over, guys. You need something very, very proactive on the asset management side as well as on the insurance side. Now, if that's you, give us a call, 813-448-3446, or you can simply just go to CortezWM.com and just book an appointment with us online. It's the easiest way. I meet all my clients on Zoom or by phone, FaceTime, whatever's easier for you. And so I wanted to share a very, very quick verse with you. And I did that last time. So love does not boast. It is not proud. 1 Corinthians 13:4. One of the strongest temptations everyone faces is to say the words, I told you so. Even thinking of them can get us in trouble. That's because for someone who just proved wrong, those words pour salt on an open wound. When we're proven right at the end of a disagreement, it feels like we've chalked up yet another conquest of ego-building accomplishment that rings a bell on our pride meter. It makes us feel good, yet at the expense of someone else's pain and humility. And God clearly says that love is not proud of anything. If we are to boast about anything, it is our weakness. They are gifts from God to keep us humble and our hearts soft towards one another, which is in line with the character of Christ. So that's why I always try to talk on myself and my previous past, because love does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. And I've struggled with pride and ego and all the other stuff that comes with my industry, and I'll be the first one to admit it. But it is my prayer for you guys to be prosperous, to understand that there is a God. He's very much real. He very much has his hand on everything. And it goes back to what I said in the beginning. You have to start believing in his word for you to have the confidence, the prosperity, the relationship goals. And so it is my prayer that you seek his face, turn from your wicked ways, and he will heal our land. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I enjoyed this podcast. It was awesome speaking from the heart and showing you some quick charts. We're going to get into the charts this weekend, and I'm pretty excited about that. But give us a call, 813-448-3446. I've been doing this for a while. I got gray hairs to prove it. 813-448-3446. Also, if you book an appointment with us and we run an appointment and we speak with you, I will send you my book. Cindy or Josh or Raz, they will send you a book. I'll sign it for you. No cost to you. All you got to do is have a conversation with us and we'll send it out for you. They want me to start charging for them. I don't want to charge. I wrote it out of goodness of my heart, and I did a hardback so that it can last a while, even if you spill coffee on it, and it could be there longer than you and I. And at the end of the day, America First Retirement Plan is about God's grace. It's about protecting your money, keeping it safe, and not funding the woke agenda. Well, God bless you guys, and we'll talk soon. Have a great one. Bye-bye.